I recently tried out the new T95 Arrows and I was blown away at how much damage I was dealing without really doing anything other than using the arrows. In this video I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the arrows, so whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax and enjoy. If you enjoy all kinds of RuneScape content, be sure to subscribe. Let's move on to the video. We now have a seriously good selection of different arrow types in the game that can be combined or used for different playstyles, and it's come to a point where bows have made a comeback. And it wouldn't surprise me if we're going to see a more widespread usage of bows for ranged combat after some consumption changes in the future and the new T95 bow releasing this summer. Now, while I've briefly tested some of the other arrows, in this video I'd like to mainly focus on the big arrows, as I think they are the highlight of the current update, as they offer a sort of unique way of outputting damage only applicable or best used at a select few bosses. Big arrows apply a stack of evolving toxin upon each hit, increasing poison damage up to a maximum of 200 stacks, or in game, as you can see, 400% extra poison damage. Currently, before any potential changes, these arrows will consume an arrow every single hit, which means that Gricko, Rapid Fire and other multi-hitting abilities will cost you multiple arrows and you will consume them very quickly. On the other hand, the more rapid hitting abilities you'll use, the faster you'll get up to max stacks, which means more poison DPM. Now, stacks will remain on your target given that you hit it at least once every 30 seconds with the big arrows, otherwise you'll lose all your stacks in a single moment. This does mean you're able to switch to other arrows in case you're using a Pranic Squiver or trying some fancy strats. This is one of the longer lasting effects, which does mean you're able to keep your stacks relatively easily even when certain bosses have a phase where you can't attack the boss or you have to do something in between. It's worth pointing out that the effect is applied to the target and people in group PvM can benefit from this increased poison damage. Getting up to 200 stacks or 400% can take you over 3 minutes at most bosses, which means you'd be a fool to use these arrows at bosses that are poisonable but have very low health. Therefore, these arrows will work well on bosses that are poisonable and have a large pool of health, but there really aren't too many of those in the current game. Care Pack in both normal and hard mode is a good example where these arrows work well, with the exception of the final phase in hard mode, as you have a lot of time to stack up a bunch of stacks and you can keep attacking Care Pack in between phases to build even more stacks. The Arc Glacier on hard mode, the higher your enrage is another great example where you can use these arrows, as the Arc Glacier is poisonable and has more health the higher your enrage is. Even with the Frozen Core mechanic where the Arc Glacier drops his arms, you're easily able to take down those arms because you have 30 seconds, then get back onto the Arc Glacier to maintain your stacks. I'm not sure how effective this is at the higher enrages, as the arms eventually do start scaling in health, but for lower enrages, this is very effective. I managed to take down the Arc Glacier in 3 minutes and 20 seconds just camping my SGB with these arrows on my first try at 500% enrage. Now, the place where I noticed the biggest change in kill times and just overall effectiveness of these arrows was the final boss of Elite Dungeon 3, the Ambassador. Now, while these arrows aren't the best burst DPS, if you have all those poison boosts, including the Quorum Incense Sticks, Weapon Poison+++, Cinderbanes, you're using a Blood Reaver and Vampirism Aura for those extra procs, you will annihilate your enemies at max stacks, and these clips from the Ambassador are a perfect example of it. Funnily enough, I was able to beat out my Fractured Staff of Armador personal best, which I recently got, and I'm not talking about like having done 50 kills with the Fractured Staff of Armador, but I did beat out my PB by several minutes using that magic weapon. I came here twice using the SGB and these poison arrows, and I got 4.5 minute kills. That's really good for me, and I was just one cycling the Ambassador really casually, not using too much food except for the final phase, and not really switching to any weapons. These arrows could just make soloing the Ambassador far more casual and far more accessible to you as a player. And if you want to do it in groups, you can also do that, which is something me, a fellow streamer by the name of Wazzy, and Loot Shark did, and we were able to get a 2 minute 10 seconds kill at the Ambassador using the exact same setup, basically just camping big arrows, and that's actually pretty decent in terms of a kill time. The only issue with these and other arrows is that you just consume way too many currently. A single solo ambassador kill at 4.5 minutes cost me 280 arrows. At 5000 GP per big arrow, I used 1.4 million GP for a single ambassador kill. Or better said, I was using near 19 million GP per hour just to kill the ambassador using these arrows, which is just absurd. Thankfully though, Jagex has taken notice of this and they're looking into a few ways of perhaps balancing it out, either buffing the anima rates and or adjusting the amount of anima required to create Elder God arrows, and as a third mentioned change, something around rebalancing the components as a whole. It's worth pointing out that not all changes are guaranteed to come into the game. They need to collect some data and see how the arrows are consumed and such, so it's probably going to take some time. Until those changes arrive, I probably won't be buying more of these arrows unless I'm really doing a lot of ambassador or something, or I'm looking to have some fun, because currently they're just too expensive to use in my eyes. Let me know what you think down in the comments below though. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.